Hi and welcome to my channel Reddit Wing Commander. My name is Charles and I am bringing to you some stories from Reddit. But before we get into these videos, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to the channel, dropped a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment below. Doing this will really help me in the future of the channel.
First story. That's all you pay me for. This is a bit long. Sorry, I work for a contractor doing custodial work for a casino. To preface this, I took this job mainly because it did not involve management in any way. I have worked in management most of my career and was just burnt out. When I started this job, I was made aware by the recruiter, assistant, who I will call Amy, she's lovely, that a lot of the people that worked at the site only spoke Spanish and that there may be some difficulties with communication from time to time. This wasn't a problem for me as Amy spoke English and was currently managing the contract because the actual contract manager was on medical leave due to having surgery. I am the kind of person that works very hard mainly because I take pride in my work ethic. As soon as I started, I downloaded Duolingo, an app that is used to teach foreign languages, and began to learn as much Spanish as I could so I could better communicate with my coworkers. I am still learning but know enough to understand my coworkers most of the time. Most of my coworkers are lazy. They are oftentimes on their phones while on the casino floor, huddled in groups, or hiding in the locker rooms to avoid doing the work. I, on the other hand, have regularly gotten compliments from the company we are in a contract with about my work ethic, so much so that the president himself has sent emails to my company to show his gratitude for me hard work, as well as giving me some free merchandise with the company's logo. Here's where the story gets more interesting. We are ridiculously short-staffed. On a regular shift, we are supposed to have 10 custodians working, cleaning the machines, the bathrooms, keeping trash off the casino floors, taking out trash, mopping the bar and restaurant, restocking all the supplies, etc. Oftentimes we will have 5 people on a shift or less, and with my coworkers being fairly lazy, that means a lot of stuff doesn't get done. I am regularly doing most of the shift's workload by myself, as well as picking up the slack for the other shifts because they too are extremely short-staffed. The actual contract manager finally comes back from medical leave about 3 months into me working there. We will call her Sally. At first, me and Sally get along great. She thanks me for my work ethic and for everything I have been doing. All of that changes when I asked for 3 days off. We had been working mandatory overtime, and up until then I was there for nearly 60 hours every week because we were short-staffed. Initially, Sally agrees to my time off request. I filled out the paperwork and made copies for myself just in case. Managerial background. A week before the days I requested come up and she puts out the schedule and my time off wasn't applied. I approach Sally and ask her why, and she says that someone else put in for time off. This other person is the laziest of all of my coworkers and regularly acts as a supervisor because she's worked there the longest and is the only person that can understand a little bit of English. I tell Sally that I think this is extremely unfair considering that I put in my time off request over 2 months ago and had made sure that no one else had asked for the same days beforehand. Sally explains that she doesn't have any paperwork to prove that, so I give her my copy which I had placed in my work bag. This is when Sally decides to show her true colors. Do you want to do my job? Do you think you can manage this case better than I can? No? I don't pay you to come in here and argue with me. You aren't a manager. You aren't a supervisor. You are a janitor, that's it. That's all I pay you for. I keep what Sally said in mind and just keep my head down at work for a few months after this. At this point of my employment, Sally is getting in trouble by the higher-ups for the lack of employees and retention that is occurring at our site, as well as the company we work for not satisfied with her performance managing everyone. It's not really a secret as we have regional and district management coming in frequently to try and help get people hired and play peacekeepers between Sally and the casino CEO. Finally, we are getting new people hired on thanks to a temp agency that was contracted in to help. A lot of the new hires only speak English. The others only speak Spanish. Other than the lazy coworker who is now on a vacation, 3 weeks. The only person that can understand both English and Spanish is me. The morning the new hires arrive, everyone is gathered in the office, including Sally's boss. They go through orientation, only speaking English, for the new hires and begin to give everyone their assignments. This is when Sally comes up to me, J. Sacra Art. I need you to train the new hires today and make sure everyone else is doing what they are supposed to be doing. Me. Does this mean that I'm being made a supervisor? Sally, who apparently forgot our previous conversation. No, but you're the only one that can speak English and Spanish, and so I need you to make sure everyone's doing what they are scheduled to do. Me. With a blank expression. I'm sorry, Sally, but I can't do that. I'm not a manager. I'm not a supervisor, and I'm not a translator. I'm a janitor. That's all you pay me for, remember? Sally at this point is trembling with rage and starts screaming at me about doing what I am told to do and dropping my attitude, etc. I looked her dead in the eye, with her supervisor, whom she forgot was behind her, and pulled my resignation out of my bag, handed it to her and walked out, knowing full well that now they were going to have a lot more issues because their best worker quit, and there was no one that could effectively communicate between the workers and the company we were contracted with. Skip forward to the next week and I get a phone call from Mr. Regional Manager. Hello, J. Sacra Art. This is Mr. Sonzo. I wanted to formally apologize for the behavior of our former employee Ms. Sally. She has been relieved of her position and we would like you to come back to work with us in a supervisory position. I am now a supervisor, and they are paying for me to take Spanish lessons, which once I complete I am supposed to get a significant raise. Story 2. You want me to be a This happened several years ago. But the guy, we shall call him Mick, and I were talking about old times and thought I'd share this. The event occurred at an establishment near a US military base. We were at a bar, it was just 4 of us. A black gentleman who shall be known as Taylor. Myself call me Luther, my friend Mick, and a racist called, let's go with Bubba. We were sharing song requests. Bubba decided to start singing the N-word, but it's not even like he was saying the N-word along with the lyrics, he was just bobbing his head back and forth going and that, and this, and you, and everything blah blah. Obviously this was uncalled for and he was told to hush. Now Mick and I are both white, but Mick has a biracial son and daughter, and just recently his son was bullied for being black at school, so racism was a touchy subject for Mick. Taylor also jumped into the conversation, basically trying to explain to Bubba that this just ain't cool. I pull Bubba aside, I recognize it's the liquor talking, and we have a conversation on why the N-word is not okay, especially in a taunting manner like he is using, and he should apologize, by everyone around, and we keep it moving. Apparently Bubba took this to mean we were violating his First Amendment rights. This enraged him even more, and he went on a speech about how if a black man can say the N-word so should he, and this is America, and we should all be equal, etc. Well, Mick got into his face, and it was getting super heated. I don't think Bubba understood how much he was pissing Mick off. I pulled Bubba aside and basically said he's touching a hot button because his biracial son was recently bullied for being black. At which point Bubba decided it would be excellent idea to tell Mick he's a dirty race mixer and a traitor to his own kind. At this point Taylor and I had zero interest in stopping what came next. Before I move forward, Bubba is an overweight man in his 50s whose hobbies included drinking beer and eating steak. Mick was an active duty soldier whose hobbies included weightlifting and boxing. At no point was anyone in that establishment under the misguided belief that this fight would be even remotely close. However, at least in my mind I knew it'd be a short fight. Honestly, calling this as a fight is dishonest. Mick walked over to Bubba and said, "I'm only going to say this one, apologize and leave," to which Bubba stood up, proud, and say, "Fuck you." I don't think Bubba saw the punch coming, but he sure did feel it. Bubba went straight down like a log. Bubba was dazed, and I'm sitting there wondering, am I going to watch a man get murdered or assaulted? As I sipped on my beer. Mick said some words, went to the bar, paid his tab and left. Taylor paid his tab and left too. Bubba was still on the floor, he was awake, and there I think he was kinda shocked. I walk over to Bubba and ask him if he's okay. He asks if I can help him up, and I told him he got himself on the floor, he can find a way up off it. Bubba gets up, comes to the bar, and Bubba goes, "I'm report Mick to his command." I advise Bubba should think long and hard before reporting Mick to his command, cause it may not end up like he expects it to. Did I mention Bubba was a contractor on the local military base? He was a mechanic that worked on heavy equipment, a very replaceable position. Bubba asks me if I'd be his witness if he decided to report the incident. I told Bubba I'd be a witness and I'd tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and I meant it. This is the malicious compliance part. Well, a few days after the incident, I was also a contractor on the base. I get a call from the MPs asking me if I'd be willing to make a statement on what happened, and I said I would. I went down to the provost marshal office, and I made my state and I mentioned everything that I've mentioned in this posting. Afterwards I called Mick and asked him what was going on his end. He said that Bubba had reported it and he's being investigated for assault. I asked Mick what he told the MPs. He said he told them the truth. He punched the guy for being racist, insulting his family and his son. He also said he reported it to his commander. Yes, Mick reported the fact that he punched Bubba to his commander. Mick also said that Taylor also made similar statements. I then get called in again, but this time to the base commander's office. As I'm waiting for my time, Taylor walks out. I asked Taylor what he said, and Taylor said, "Everything." I nodded. It was like we were in this together. I sit down with the commander who is going over my statement. I really drove home the fact that Bubba was being very racist, that he was using racial slurs unapologetically despite being asked to stop, insulted Mick's family and called him a race traitor. Actually, very little was actually said about Mick punching Bubba. The commander asked me if I had anything else to add and I said, I'm impressed he only got punched once. A few days later I'm talking to Mick and he tells me he had ended up getting an Article 15 with a very light punishment, no reduction in pay or rank. The message he got was take the Article 15, move forward, you'll be fine. Bubba on the other hand, Bubba got barred from the base. As a result, the company he was working for him fired him with cause since he couldn't get access to the base. This would mean no unemployment benefits for Bubba. TL. Dr. Racist gets punched, reports it, gets fired and loses his job.